it seems like they're just leaning into it. Like there's no course correction at all. Just leaning into the kooky. Yeah. Fun times.
I'm a private investigator. I've got some books at Sycamore. Inside I have from the United States District Court, Rogan District.
Get ready, because today we're diving headfirst into the crazy world of local politics that's completely off the rails. You know how small towns are usually peaceful, maybe a little boring, with town hall meetings where the biggest drama is a debate over a new stop sign? Well, not in Dalton, Illinois. This quiet little village is now at the heart of a massive scandal, and it's all centered around none other than Mayor Tiffany Henyard. She's been accused of everything you can think of, from threatening her own residents to hiring a lawyer with a seriously questionable past. And if you can believe it, even Joe Rogan took a shot at her on his podcast, turning this local scandal into a full-blown national headline. Things are getting wild, and we're here to break down all the insane details you won't believe are true.
It really is like the whole country's hypnotized. And I just think this is a perfect storm of things that are happening all the time.
Let's kick things off with the biggest headline in this whole drama. Joe Rogan. Yeah, that Joe Rogan. The guy who's notorious for diving into everything from politics to celebrity gossip decided to shine a spotlight on Dalton's own mayor, Tiffany Henyard, in one of his recent episodes. And when Rogan speaks, you know people listen. He didn't hold back either. According to Rogan, the allegations against Henyard are massive red flags for anyone concerned about government overreach and losing public trust. Is it possible for someone with Rogan's platform to focus on a small-town mayor like Henyard? That alone says volumes about how huge this controversy has become. So, why did Rogan get so worked up? It all comes down to the shocking claims that Henyard has been using her power to intimidate and threaten her own residents. Imagine that. The very person who's supposed to serve and protect the people is being accused of silencing them instead. According to the rumors, anyone who dares to speak out against her leadership or decisions suddenly finds themselves in her crosshairs. Word on the street is that people who've criticized Henyard have ended up under heavy scrutiny from local authorities, with some even suggesting that her administration has retaliated in more subtle ways, shutting down businesses or making life increasingly difficult for those who oppose her.
Shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
You're watching us all this.
Rogan's never one to shy away from calling out public figures, and this time he really made a point of emphasizing how this situation is a prime example of why elected officials must be held accountable. In his signature, no-nonsense style, he framed it as a serious abuse of power, something that absolutely everyone should be paying attention to. He even threw in a warning, suggesting that this could be just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to small-town politics flying under the radar. And, let's be real, once Joe Rogan drops your name into the conversation, your scandal isn't just a local story anymore. It's about to explode into something much bigger.
Judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from...
But hold on. That's just the beginning of the drama surrounding Tiffany Henyard. As if the allegations of threatening her own residents weren't bad enough, her recent legal moves are raising even more eyebrows. Get this. Henyard has hired a lawyer named Beau Brindley, and let's just say his reputation is making this whole situation look even more sketchy. If you haven't heard of him, Brindley has been involved in some of the most notorious legal cases in recent memory, and not in a good way. He's the guy who defended R. Kelly's former manager. Yep, that R. Kelly, the man at the center of one of the biggest scandals in the music industry. Brindley is known for his aggressive, sometimes controversial legal tactics, and that's left a lot of people wondering, why on earth would Henyard choose him? Was it out of desperation? Or does she think his hardball approach is exactly what she needs to dig herself out of this mess? Either way, it's definitely not a good look when your lawyer has been accused of playing dirty in court. Brindley's been tied to allegations of coaching witnesses, using questionable courtroom strategies, and generally pushing the ethical limits of the legal system. So, the fact that Henyard turned to him is raising a whole lot of red flags for anyone following this scandal.
The information today, we have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 19.
Now, let's take a step back and look at how things completely spiraled out of control. Tiffany Henyard became the mayor of Dalton in 2021 after a massive victory, winning over 80% of the vote. At first, it seemed like she was going to be a powerhouse leader, even making history as the first female mayor of Dalton. But fast forward just a couple of years, and things aren't looking so rosy anymore. The residents of Dalton are fed up, not just because of her alleged intimidation tactics, but because of how she's handled the village's finances. And this is where it starts to get really murky. Remember when we said this started as a small-town scandal? Well, it's a small town with huge money problems. Henyard's been accused of spending taxpayer dollars like there's no tomorrow, and not on anything that benefits the village. We're talking about extravagant trips, lavish parties, and even purchasing a brand new vehicle. A luxury Tahoe rumored to cost over $150,000, all on the taxpayer's dime. This is where things go from your typical political controversy to full-blown outrage. The residents are demanding answers, but Henyard's response? Deny, deny, deny. She's called all the accusations politically motivated attacks from her enemies, but that hasn't done much to calm the storm. In fact, it's only added fuel to the fire, especially since some of her most loyal supporters have started turning on her. Now, there's even talk that federal investigators are getting involved, with subpoenas flying around Dalton's local government like confetti at a parade.
On top of all the other lawsuits is a waste of the taxpayer.
Let's not forget, the judge in this case has already hit Tiffany Henyard with a restraining order, barring her from making any more appointments to key village positions without board approval. But does Henyard seem to care? Apparently not. Despite the court order, she's been accused of continuing to surround herself with controversial figures, some of whom have no business being in those roles. Take Michael Smith, for example. He was supposed to be appointed as the village administrator, even though the current one, Keith Freeman, is still in office. It's almost as if Henyard is daring the court to act, practically taunting them to crack down harder on her. Talk about playing with fire. Now, let's pivot back to Dalton's residents for a second. You'd think that after all the accusations against her, Henyard would at least try to make amends or clear the air, right? Wrong. Instead, she's doubled down, holding her own separate meetings when the trustees are organizing theirs and even filing lawsuits to stop them from holding meetings altogether. In one instance, Henyard was actually booed out of a meeting after showing up an hour late, attempting to make appointments, and then accusing the board of corruption. It's like something straight out of a reality TV show. But here's the thing. The stakes are real, and the people of Dalton are the ones suffering.
The judge today declining to hold her in contempt, but did warn her that if she did not follow the ruling.
One of the wildest twists in this whole situation? Tiffany Henyard is now suing the village trustees and the Dalton Park District. Yes, you heard that right. She's taking legal action against them because they've been holding meetings at a field house instead of Village Hall. Here's the backstory. The Illinois Attorney General ruled that Village Hall couldn't legally accommodate the large crowds showing up for these meetings, so the trustees moved them to a bigger venue. But Henyard claims this is all part of a plot to undermine her authority. She's even trying to invalidate any business conducted at these meetings, arguing that they weren't held in the proper location. She's saying that the meeting was improperly called and improperly held. But here's the kicker. While she's suing everyone in sight, Henyard is also gearing up for re-election. That's right. Despite all the scandals, accusations, and drama, she's announced on social media that she's running for a second term as mayor. Her post read, "Attention, attention, attention. I am running for re-election for mayor of Dolton." As you can imagine, the reactions have been priceless. One comment perfectly captured the sentiment. This woman needs to be thrown in jail now. Honestly, that seems to be the sentiment shared by many Dolton residents. People are furious, and for good reason. Henyard's term has been filled with one controversy after another, and instead of addressing the issues head-on, she's only digging herself deeper into this chaotic mess. Another comment summed it up bluntly. She used taxpayer money to travel to Vegas and party. Also bought a brand new Tahoe for $150K on the taxpayer dime. And anyone that opposes her will face the wrath of eviction and having their business shut down. It's easy to see why people are so angry. Henyard's leadership, or lack thereof, has turned what should have been a peaceful local government into a soap opera filled with corruption, power grabs, and legal battles. Just when it seems like things can't get any worse, something new pops up. Whether it's her extravagant spending or her latest legal maneuver, Henyard can't seem to stop making headlines. For all the wrong reasons. Now, you might be wondering, how does this all end? Will Henyard actually face consequences for everything she's been accused of? Or will she keep dodging accountability, blaming her political enemies for all her problems? One thing's for sure, the people of Dolton are fed up, and the pressure is mounting. Between the FBI investigation, court orders, and growing public outrage, it's starting to feel like Henyard's time in office is running out. But if there's one thing we've learned from this whole saga, it's that Henyard isn't going down without a fight. She's still out there holding meetings, suing people, and continuing to claim she's the victim in all of this. Whether you believe her or not, one thing is clear. This is far from over. And with Joe Rogan now weighing in, the national spotlight on this scandal isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So, what do you think? Is this the end of the road for Mayor Tiffany Henyard? Or does she have some kind of plan up her sleeve to stay in power?